Okay, we are live. It is Tuesday. It is needle felting day. And we are back working on this guy. Alright, we got our little bit of water in case we need it. We've got our finger protectees. We've got our needle all set to go. And we've got our fluff. Again, I use acrylic yarn. Sometimes I'll use roving if I have enough of the right shade, but I don't have that much roving, and roving can get kind of expensive for me. So I prefer to go with the acrylic yarn because it fits my budget a little bit better. But you know, you can use whatever fiber you can get your hands on in the shade that you need. When I get the yarn, it's in its like ready to go knit, crochet, plied, twisted state from the store, and then I take some lengths of it, snip them so that they're all pretty much the same length, and then I have to brush them out with this guy, and then we get to this state. So alright. Oh, I didn't put our reference photo up. There we go. Alright. So we are gonna hop on back into here. Now I do have a couple of areas that appear to be a little bit thinner than others, where I can see some of the gray from underneath our base color trying to shine through. I'm gonna let that be to a degree for now, because I am going to have other stuff coming up on top of it. Like if it's really super thin, I will put another layer on top of that. But like there's a lot of spots in here where I'm like, oh, that could be a little bit thicker. So we'll see once I get the other color put in if I feel like I need to come back in and do a little bit more with that. We'll see. So I'm gonna have another color kind of ringing this. So maybe after I get that color in, I will come back and kind of reevaluate here. To see who needs what done. Everybody's having a good Tuesday. Or at least as good of a Tuesday as you can hope for so far. No, I'm right. So this is the bottom right now. And I'm kind of working my way up. Excuse me. The allergies are terrible. There's like a tree in this area that does not get along with my system at all. It's been windy for days. They're doing controlled burns on top of it. Farmers are burning their growing fields. I don't know why they are, because our particular county is in a burn ban currently, but so many of them already. We usually only get them towards the end of summer. But it's been that dry, that windy, our humidity's been that low. But the counties around us apparently have been doing controlled burns. There's some wildfires out in Oklahoma. So, like, all of the smoke is blowing this way. But one day it was kind of scary smoking in town. It was like, oh. All right. I'm just kind of working this guy in here. I'm overlapping a little bit into the sections next to where this guy is going in. Now I know this guy is taking a little bit longer for something that looks so simple. But we still have to get the fluff in. And this is a lot bigger than the 3x3 magnets that we had been working on. So it is going to take a little bit longer to put together. It's not quite as big as an 8x10. It's close. It's definitely close. So when we do finish this guy, see, that way it didn't want to pull up very easily. So if we just change the direction, we'll have a better shot of getting that popped off of there without damage to our mat or to our piece. But when we are done this guy, the plan is to make a frame to put around him like our magnets, very similar to those. It's just a much bigger version, and we will put a piece of rope on there to hang it. pop that up just real quick there. So make sure it's not getting too cozy. Because if you don't pop it up off of your mat periodically, at least with this mat, it will want to live there. And it will make removing it very, very tricky, and it will become a very delicate situation. Because I'm using a wool mat. Some people use like a foam mat, and I don't know. I guess with maybe a foam mat, it might not be as necessary to do it as often. But I've never used the foam mat, so I'm not sure. I didn't bother trying the foam mats because the scritchy noise bothers my ears, number one. Number two, this feels like it lasts longer to me. We've had this mat for over a year now. And I felt like the foam mats would need to be replaced a lot more often with what I'm doing. So I'm not making critters right now, so that's a lot of stabbing going into the mat. So I was thinking, well, if we do foam, it's probably gonna get smushed in and break down a bit faster. I've heard of some people making their own mats with like burlap fabric and like rice or something inside of it. I'm not sure if that would dull your needle faster though. That I don't know. But I guess that's an option. You basically need a surface that your needle can sink into. That won't snap it. Because it needs to penetrate through your fluff, whatever your base is, and not hit a hard surface to snap the end of it. Because snapped needle is no fun. That's not going to get you very far. Now, I'm not soaking this. I'm getting a drop of water on the end of my finger, and then I'm like shaking the majority of it back into the cup. I just need enough friction on my hand to try to shape this. And you don't have to shape yours. You can just grab a bit of fluff and lay it on. I've showed you how to do that previously. This just works better for me. So, you know, you guys do whatever is going to work best for you. Again, this is just what works for me. Now, I know there are handles out there and tools that have multi-needles in them. I don't care for them. I have a multi-needle handle. I can definitely feel the weight difference between that one and this one. And the multi-needle felt like it was making my hand and arm so much more tired, so much faster. Like there was that much of a weight difference. It doesn't seem like there would be, because these needles weigh like nothing. And the handle by itself, super lightweight, at least as the single handle's considered. But I also found that, you know, there's like um the they go around to the circle, right? But there's nothing in the middle. So it always kind of was hard to aim to get where I wanted it done, because it felt like I was always hitting the edge of where I wanted to be instead of where I needed to try to put that guy. So it's just, it wasn't worth it to me. I'm not even really sure that it was any faster than the single needle. So it felt like it was slower to me personally. Again, that's going to come down to personal preference. Now, I am using a small needle. I wish I could tell you what the gauge was on it. I have no idea. I never saw a number gauge on it. Just when I got them, they came in these tubes with the kit that I picked up that just had an S sticker on it. So, don't know. Now, I've had this kit for a few years now. I have not had to order more needles yet. And I still have quite a few not yet used needles in that tube. I was throwing away the broken ones that I have snapped over the time here in like a plastic water bottle and then throwing them away, and I'm like, you know, I could just put them back in the test tube that they came in. That would probably be better because it's a lot thicker. Now remember, we're gonna have a frame, right? So it's gonna cover the very edge. So the very, very edge doesn't have to be 100% perfect. I'm gonna try to get it at least close to covered, but we will have that strip of trim there. Again, we're not saturating this. We're not doing wet felting. That is a whole different animal. And not what I'm doing here, so. And I don't believe you can do the wet felting with the acrylic yarn. I could be wrong about that, but I think it needs to be the roving so it will stick to itself with the layers of water and soap. I haven't delved too far into that rabbit hole because I was like, oh, I can't do that around this setup. That's something I would definitely need to be doing outside. That's definitely a thin spot. barely covered there. So I definitely need to add a bit more in that spot or flip over. Maybe I'll just flip over. So it's not like the end piece of that was attached just yet. I still might need to add a little bit more onto that. Kind of depends on how well the little flippy over bit decides to cover there. Okay. Maybe just the tiniest bit. I feel like no friction on my hands today. I didn't even put any lotion on. Alright, I'm gonna add just a little bit more. In that spot. Now, these needles are very sharp. I would not recommend letting younger kids do this. Because these are not toys. And these things can snap pretty easily. There's a reason I've got these on. There's little notches cut into the needle to grab the fiber and like shove it down through the other layers of fiber. Kind of like force weaving it together. So if that goes into small fingers, it's gonna hurt quite a lot. And you know, some kids are not exactly careful. So I personally wouldn't let kids do this. Maybe teenagers. Maybe. I mean, it also kind of depends on the maturity level of your kid. I mean, you certainly wouldn't let a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old use a hot glue gun, so that's asking for trouble. And while this isn't scalding hot glue, in my opinion, it's just as dangerous because you can hurt yourself with this thing. Okay. try to lay this guy in there. I might need to flip the tail up on this one as well. We'll kind of see here. I didn't want the end of it too tight. I didn't want the whole thing too tight, because then it starts getting a little weird when you're layering it, and then you can kind of see the outline of it as you've put it in, and then, you know, it turns into a thing where you're trying to layer loosely around it to kind of hide the shape of it. Now I'm leaving this little bit open here to attach our pink, because this pink's gonna come back in across the top there. I just kind of set my finger on top of the tail. I'm not pushing down, it's just gently resting there, so there's a little bit of weight, because if I don't, then as the little notches in the needle grab the fiber, you can see it's kind of like just eating all of that up real fast. Potentially faster than you wanted it to. Yeah, that is a little bit thin in that spot. I'm starting to definitely see the gray poking through there. And you want to try to keep your needle straight up and down. If you come in at an angle, you can use that to try to nudge your fiber in as a way to like reposition it. But for just attaching, you're gonna want to be just as regular up and down as you can be. Okay, so we'll get this guy all tapped into here. I'm gonna need a little bit more right in there. You don't have to do this part, it's just something I do. find it helps things lay a little bit flatter as time goes on, but I'm sure it doesn't really just an illusion. It's one of those things that we tell ourselves, oh no, that helps. It probably doesn't, but if it works there, then you know, why not? Why not? Alright, so we'll get that little spot filled in as best as we can here. Alrighty. Get this popped into here. And then we'll get that part filled in, and then we'll flip it over and start working on the other side again. Gosh, it is so windy. Those wind chimes are gonna be wore out. Oh my goodness. All right. Bit more here. And get this guy kind of popped into there. Okay, that's gonna be a little bit thin there, isn't it? Just a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to flip this guy up just a little. Again, right into there. Just to fill that in. Okay, that's looking pretty good in that spot. Well, as good as it can, really. In that section. Alright, so we'll get this bit here. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna pop that up right there. I know I'm not quite done attaching that spot, but it felt like it was getting a little too attached in there. So just a little quick pop up. I mean, you can pop it up as you go. Wait till you're done that particular bit that you're currently working on, you know, all of those things. There. Oh. Didn't flick off in the container like I thought it did. Landed on the felt instead. That's okay. A drop isn't going to be a problem. That's fine. Okay. So I'm going to try to get this guy worked in here. And if you need to adjust, you want to take your needle and just like scrape the surface. You don't want to stab in because then you'll snap your needle. Like, don't snap in, and then stab in, excuse me, and then try to scrape. That's not gonna work. You need to be on the surface. Okay. So we'll get this stabbed into here. Alrighty. Do apologize for the slightly late start this morning. I, as usual lately, was running behind. Oh, so very behind. Supposed to have a chance of rain tomorrow. They were saying thunderstorms originally, but they've taken that off. And now it's just a chance of rain. Thursday, they're saying we might have up to an inch of rain. Which would be great. We definitely need it. There's been like no humidity in the air lately. Our humidity levels have been like 10 to 20%, which is really bad for here. Not good. And Friday night into Saturday morning, they're like, oh, it's gonna be rumbly. And I'm like, why? Why is it always overnight? Why? Now I'm gonna have very upset doggo. I don't want a very upset doggo. Okay, so this guy, kind of feel like I need a little bit more there. And then when we're done this guy, like all done, we're gonna do the tissue paper version of him. I'm excited to work on that. It's been a minute since we've done some tissue paper art. I do need to get either a larger floss organizer or like 2 more. Because the little cube of floss that I had gotten, the plastic's very flimsy on it. And when I got it, it was already cracked in one spot. Not huge, but there's a little chunk missing out of it. I didn't even notice at first, so I don't think I did it. I don't remember it falling. And I didn't find any little bit of plastic that I can remember. Hoping to get some more Little Known Galaxy recorded this weekend. That is my goal. Will that be what actually ends up happening? I don't know. I guess I could try to record a little bit of it tonight. But it kind of depends on how tired I am at that point, too. You know, later in the day it gets, the less I feel like talking, so in this particular playthrough is with commentary. I don't know. If not tonight, then at some point this this weekend. Now remember, there won't be a stream on Sunday. I have to make Easter dinner. So I will be indisposed doing that. And probably by the middle or towards the end of the month, we will be flipping to our new stream schedule. Which will end up being Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. From like 9 to midnight. Just to try to counter everybody's extreme neediness that's been going on when I've been trying to stream lately, because the mother-in-law is here until the end of June, unless she actually gets called for jury duty and serves her 10 days. New Jersey doesn't pay you much for jury duty, but it's like $5 a day. Or you turn the card in to your employer so that you get your, to prove you were there, so you actually get your regular pay. I don't know how much they pay here. But it was 3 days or one trial. No, not here. Not in a city like Fayetteville itself has like almost 100,000 people in it. Way bigger than the area I was from. Like Atlantic City, I really don't think had that many people. Or at least that particular county. They kind of did it by county when you got pulled over there. I mean, I guess they do it everywhere by county, but thank goodness I never had to go to a federal court there. It was always either like local civil or local criminal. I didn't have to go to federal because federal would have been a real big problem getting to and from for me. Like a real big problem. But here they do 10 days. You have to serve 10 days, or you're on call April, May, 3 months, which is just so asinine. Like, that's a long time to be waiting to get a call saying, we need you today. And they don't care if you have a vacation planned or nothing, I guess because they gave you enough warning. You're not getting out of it. There were very few things that they were going to exempt you for. Because she was real mad. Because her and her sister were supposed to head back up to New Hampshire. How did our screen door just bang? Do I want to know? I have a feeling what caused it. Our screen door just kind of thudded.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. Well, at least we're on the other side now, right? That doesn't want to... Hello? Okay, we're gonna have to be really gentle here. Because that section did not want to let go. I was saying, you can't just like rip and pull. Sometimes it's a little bit easier if you just change the direction that you're pulling up from. Other times, that's not the case. So I did kind of come in at an angle there, so I don't lose my circle too much there. Now I'm gonna have another color kind of ringing that, so it doesn't have to be right up on the circle, but it will make my life a little bit easier if it is. So we just have to fill in this side now. And then once we get that filled in, like we don't have that much more to go. We've got a little bit, but once we get that taken care of, then no, what the hell, bud?
Juju, she'll be back in a minute. Relax.
Oh my god. He's mad because the mother-in-law's outside. And she's not in this house. We're gonna have a heck of a time when she goes back to New Hampshire in July. He scared the crap out of me. He'll do that sometimes if the husband doesn't tell him that he's going to the store. He will sit there and howl. Like, I was in the other room trying to clean up guinea pig hay to keep the cat from getting into it, or the one cat that's obsessed with it. And all of a sudden, I was hearing something that sounded like a siren. I'm like, what the heck? It was him. He was sitting on the bed howling because he either thought he was by himself and that everybody left him, or he was just mad that Mr. Man left. For which I'm not entirely certain, but after he saw me, like, I kept calling for him once I figured out it was him. And he would not come to me, so I had to go to him. I think his hearing's going at times, or he's just choosing to ignore us. We don't know which. But that's why if we travel with him, he cannot be unattended by anybody. Someone must be with him at all times, because he does that shit when he doesn't have anybody else with him. Like, Snuffles is here, he doesn't care. He wants the human. He wants the human that he's decided to latch onto at the moment. And like, we could not leave him alone in a hotel room. So then he starts doing that. So if we have to travel with him, it either has to be doggo-friendly things that he can be brought along on, or someone has to be the designated doggo sitter to wrangle him. Are you okay?
Uh-huh.
Let's see here. Okay, that section lifted up fairly well. Oh yeah, kind of pulled up a little bit of the mat there. That's alright. We'll be alright though. That particular bit was holding on tight. Okay. Oh. Alright. So this guy. Gonna work into here. And every time I need to put our recycling out, it's either pouring rain, they're talking about overnight storms, or it's windy AF. And then I can't put all of it out because it's gonna blow everywhere. But I need to get that out because it has to go up tonight. And since I didn't put it all out last week, well, my bin got full and I couldn't like really fill the bin to busting because the wind. So I'm hoping this wind starts to calm down a little bit this afternoon. Because that's my next task. All right. So we're slowly oh so slowly getting this filled in here. And then we've got a little bit more. So that's not too bad. That chunk of fluff got us a little bit of mileage there. Not like a huge amount, but just a little bit. I might need to refill this color sooner. And some of the others, I have to find this color. I don't know which bin it's in. Some of the smaller ones I was trying to throw in the other bin. But I also ripped all the colors out of the bins when I was refilling my fluff bags. So who knows what order they ended up getting put back in. Like, I'd love to have the cubbies to stick them in. You know, those little organizy cubicle cubby hole bookcase things that so many people have behind them for holding their yarns and things, except I don't need to fill the bags that often, so I'm worried about them getting dusty. But I feel like it would be easier if they were more easily accessible. Sort of things, so I don't know. But then again, I would probably top them off more often. If I had a bit more ease of access, I guess. But right there, it's like, nope, I'm not giving it up. See about readjusting how we are sitting here in just a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit over the circle. Just a minute, you guys. Okay, I have no idea. Mother wanted the husband for something. No idea what, because I didn't hear. And then they dispersed, and I don't know what the heck's going on now. What's wrong?
No, she's gonna hop in the shower.
Get this stabbed into here. And get that all good and filled in there. So we're getting there. I don't know if we'll have this color finished today. Kind of depends on how late we go today or how much my neck is feeling jiggly. We'll see. Haven't fully decided yet. See, that still feels a little thin right there. But I'm not certain. Like looking at the back, that seems like it's a little bit of a thinly covered spot there, so it might not just be the way the light's hitting it. So let's see, maybe we can kind of work you into there. Remember, we're gonna have that other color kind of ringing around that and sort of like bleeding outward a bit. I have a question. Husband? Husband?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that you could get, I don't know what thickness what it would be, but like two rectangle-y bits of wood, and then do you have a I don't know what they're called, one of those things to like kind of bore out a hole but not all the way through, like just like a partial depth?
No.
You know what
I
I
don't.
mean, though?
I don't have a tool to do that.
But
I'd have to eyeball
but you know what I mean?
it. Uh-huh. What's your end goal?
To um to stick two dowel rods in it and um so that I can suspend a string between the two to make like a display clothesline to clip.
I'd have to think about it.
Okay.
I don't think I could do it well with what
Okay. Hmm. Actually, we're gonna go on a quick AD. I don't know if it's really ADHD, but let's see. Wooden dish would be display. Hmm. So like something like this.
I get the premise.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
I
sure.
just don't think I have the stuff to make it well.
I just wasn't sure if I was explaining it.
No, I get it.
Oh, they kind of make them. I mean, I wouldn't be using it for bacon, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. Hmm. Kinda. Hmm. 11 feet black windproof clothesline with 12 black adjustable clips. What if you don't need it the full 11 feet though? Oh, that would work. I could hang that off the front of the table. That would very much work. Alright, let me grab this. I think I put it on the wrong list. Let me pop it on that list too. Okay. Alright. Sorry. I had to go on a side quest to look at that or my brain was gonna get mad. Alright. Never mind, I found something that would work for cheaper than it would be to try to make it. Okay. next bit of fluff and stuff. Like we're getting there. That we are. So do I want to put that there? Do I want to put that there? No, I kind of want to put you like there. That way I'm kind of filling in the gappy guys over here as best as I can. Okay. Work on this bit here. Okay. So it is kind of sloggy when you're just blocking in a large bit of color, but at the same time, it needs to be done. Like we can't move forward to the faster bits of color going in until we get the longer bits of color happening. Just one of those things that needs to happen so that we can move on forward. So this is like a big bit here. Oh, and that one just lifted up wonderfully. So my microphone's probably not picking it up. But when you have like the wool or felt mats and you're stabbing into it, it kind of sounds like you're walking through the snow. Got like that slight little bit of like an icy crunchy sound to it, but yet it's soft at the same time. So kind of like snow that has that slight, very slight ice crust layer on top of it. Where it's not enough to support you fully on top of the snow. It like holds you for like a second and then you like plunge in a little bit. Okay. I need a little bit more. Up in this spot here. Just enough to kind of fill in that super thin looking spot there. Okay. That's looking a little bit better there. At least I think it is. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to tell until you get the piece fully worked in. Then we'll definitely know how it laid on in here. Didn't think that piece was quite that big, but I guess so. I got a little bit more of the black, just a tiny bit of the black filled in on the embroidery canvas last night, or the embroidery project, and then I tried to do a little bit of a paint by number that we had picked up while we were away. I can kind of see it a little bit better here at home than I was able to see it at the hotel. It wasn't like perfect, but it was a little bit better. Okay. So I'm just trying to get this guy kind of worked into this spot here. I'm gonna pop that up real quick just because it's been a little extra grippy here. At least on this side. For the most part. So much allergy. My ears are itchy. It feels like they need to pop. Ugh. Hate that sensation. Feels like we're driving through the mountains. I mean, we technically kind of live in the mountains at the moment. We're surrounded by mountains. We're in like a small valley. I don't know what our elevation is. I know the city we're looking at is a lower elevation. So our elevation here is 1,184 feet above sea level. The elevation of where we're looking at possibly moving to is 531 feet. In a completely different state, which would be a nice change of pace because I certainly did not grow up anywhere that had any kind of large elevation. See, what was the elevation of the town I grew up in? It was not much. We were on the coast. Three feet. Oh. Sorry, my eyes are watering so much. Okay. So yeah, that's a big difference. To go from like 3 feet to this. So going down an elevation would be a lovely change. hell, being within a day's drive of the coast is a lovely change. A day's drive from here just puts us into more land, no matter what direction we go in. A day's drive south puts us into northern Louisiana. A day's drive west puts us into either Oklahoma or Texas, depending on which direction you go. Like if you're like straight west or a little southwest, you're still landlocked. North puts you into Missouri. And east puts you into Tennessee. So like we can't even go to the beach for the weekend. That's not happening. No way, shape, or form. Okay, so we will get this guy popped into here. Or at least we're trying to. We're definitely trying. Gosh, that wind. So I seem to be sensitive to these juniper cedar trees or something. Apparently they're all over Texas. And like parts of Arkansas. We think that there's a couple actually at the park that we take the dog to. And that seems to be what I am super sensitive to. Sorry, my nose is itching like crazy now. I did not get the chance to get any allergy medicine before we got started. I was super slow getting up. In fact, I really just wanted to roll over and go back to sleep, and I was like, crap, I gotta stream today. We're not on the new schedule yet. Couple more weeks until we go to the zoo, and then we will switch over. Dang it. That was just water. That's fine. I've got a little bit left in there. Spilled my water cup. Yay. Alrighty. We'll work on getting this bit all tapped in there and filled in as best as we can. Now, like the name canvas, I'm really only working on this on stream for the most part, or at least advancing it only on stream. So that's why it's gonna seem like it's taking forever for me to make any headway. And right now we're only doing art 2 days a week. We could try to squeeze in a third art stream. We will see about that though. Maybe on the new schedule. Since I'll have the opportunity to get more stuff done in theory during the day outside of stream time. Okay. We'll get that's a little thin in that spot. So we will come back in and do a little bit on that in just a second. Okay. So we're slowly making some headway here. I mean, we got the other side done. We're gonna need more fluff here. I mean, I have like half a skein left on this color. I possibly have another full one. I think that was the color that I accidentally ended up with two. we can kind of fold that guy over a little bit. See what we can do with that. Like the main goal was just to get that little bit with another layer. Okay. Here, that might need another little patchy bit there. Just because of how that kind of laid in. That kind of left a weird shape there. Like super hard edge in there. Sometimes it is easier to kind of blend those in than others. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to add another, just a little piece in there. Okay, so let me stab that bit in there a little bit. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do a little something something there. Like nothing too drastic there. Just a little something something. Hopefully. Nudging that over a little bit. Okay. We'll come back to getting this worked in here. Okay, that's a little bit better. That guy up there. Oh, pretty. So, I mean, this is how we are looking so far. Actually, let me bump you back that way just a little. So we're getting there. We just have this little bit in here still with this particular shade. So let's work on getting that guy. Popped into there. Okay. This is exciting. We're almost done with this color. For now, at least. Before I bring the pink back in, I want to work on getting that other orange color in there and get the sun done. So that way whatever I do up here will kind of look like cloud drifting down. Or at least hopefully. I'd rather have this stuff up here overlapping this stuff down here. We'll see if we can make that happen. Sometimes the way I think it'll happen in my brain is very much not the way it ends up happening, so we will see. Just kind of trying to nudge that around a little bit to where I'm happy with its location. Now I do have to keep reminding myself that this orange bit here, this like peachy color, does not have to be 100% perfect because there is stuff going in on top of it. Your mate's not doing too bad for having a year, a little over a year's worth of stabbings happening to it. So this guy. Just trying to soften out that edge. In the hopes that we don't get a weird hard outline of this guy going in. Alrighty. Oh my goodness, that wind. Did you water your flowers?
Not today.
Are you supposed to water them every day?
At least when they get established. We're getting there. Slowly. Ever so slowly. Alright. I kind of want to going with this part. And like this upper line here doesn't have to be super straight.
because we're gonna have that pink come in. And like I scraped it up a little bit in here. I mean, it's covered. I scraped it down a little bit in there. But I'm gonna try to do like what I did here, up here with the pink. Okay. We're getting there. We should actually finish this color today. That might be as far as we get today, but we should, at the very least, get this guy in. Okay, so we need just a little bit to get this guy here. That's probably too much, but that'll be alright. Okay. So I'm gonna start on the edge. And I don't really care how ugly this side edge is. Like the very, very edge here. Because some of that will get trimmed up. And whatever isn't trimmed up will end up getting covered up with our frame. Now, just a smidge in from that, I do care about how it looks like. Because the trim will only cover so much, right? So we have to be aware of that.
Okay. That spot there might need the smallest amount more. Because, of course, that one spot decided to be like, oh, so thin. And I mean, there's a chance that the frame will end up covering that, but this is when we want to fix it and ensure that it's not going to be an issue. Because once we get it glued to the backing, there's no more fussing with it. Like, we have to be sure that we're good to go. As soon as we mount it onto that wood block or wood board, we're done. No takesy backsies. No more final adjustments. Actually, I really won't be able to do too many more final adjustments to this particular shade after we start doing the branches and plants that are going to be coming up. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Alright. Now we've got just this little tiny swath here. Okay. So we'll get this guy jabbed into this spot here. Alrighty. Now we will work on backfilling this spot that we've got left. Alright, so I'm just gonna overlap that a little bit. And start to layer this guy in here. At least as best as we can. Okay. Sorry when the creaking and snapping gets picked up by my microphone. It's my keyboard tray. In certain ways, I'm touching it by accident. I'm not even trying to touch it. It might be just ever so slightly crooked. Just enough. Like, barely. But, it's, like, out just enough that, I tend to tap it from time to time. So I have to be, like, extraordinarily mindful and kind of contort myself around it so that I'm not constantly tapping it, because I will come back and hear it in parts of the recording and it sounds so loud. Like louder than it sounded in the moment. Let's see here. That's not super great there, so I'm going to see about hitting that again. At least as best as I can here. But we'll get this section here. I do not know what that was. Okay, so this guy, this was a bit of an extra fluffy piece, so sometimes it seems like those ones take forever to get worked in there. Okay, we are getting there though. We're slowly chipping away. All right, so we just have this little patch of gray left that we still need to fill in there. Okay. And then get this guy. I'm gonna scrape him out a little bit, just in the hopes that we don't have a weird seam issue. Okay. I feel like I have a piece of fuzz, like on the top of my eyelid. Don't know if I really did, but it felt like I did. And I've got a fan on, so it's possible it was a cat hair. Real off chance it could have been a dog hair. These two dogs don't really shed like normal dogs. Like, I think the cats shed more than these two dogs. The only time I remember seeing bits of snuffle fluff anywhere is when we're trying to demat her. Or trying to trim her coat down because it's getting too much. We're probably gonna have to stay on top of that. She's probably gonna be getting a haircut every like 2 to 3 weeks this summer. It's getting there. I still have a little bit of a light section right there. Oddly enough. Somehow. Let's see what we can do to fill that guy in. Got it becoming a huge fiasco. It was exciting when you're about done with a large block of color. And as much as I'm ready to be done with this color and move on to another one, I know I need to slow down and make sure we're good. Okay. That's looking a little bit better in there. We are just about ready to start filling in this last little bit. Okay. All right, let me pop that up. Okay. So we've got this little bit here. And let's see what we can do about that. Here, this one's a little bit of a wild guy here. Just a little bit. Not sure that that is going to be enough. But let's see. get that kind of scraped out a little bit. Because that's not looking too bad there. Okay. Always that last little bit that feels like it takes forever. Okay. All right, let's work our way back this way now. And see how this other end is looking. Okay, I am going to pop this up here just to make sure that we weren't going to have too much trouble. Really? We're going to have a thin spot after all that still? Seems like it. Very much seems like it. Right in there. So the smallest little bit more, I guess. To get that bit. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see on the back. I don't know that I need it quite that robust. All right. This might be a little A little much. We will see. Feels like that was a bit exaggerated for the amount that I dropped on there. Compared to the spot I'm trying to cover. Just a bit. But let's see, maybe it will take care of itself here. What are you doing out here?
Go to her appointment.
I didn't know she had one today.
Cardiologist, she said.
Okay. So we're looking pretty good. I mean, I exaggerated it a little bit to try to keep any weirdness happening with seams and all that. We just have this little bit right here left that we need to tap into place. That looks pretty good. Alright. So I know we still have some like thinner patches around, but I'm gonna hold off on that for right now. Because we are gonna have we're gonna have that other color ringing around there. We're gonna have some pink coming down. We're gonna have our tree branches. You know, we'll see what happens as things go forward. But I think we will pause there today. Don't really have enough time to get involved in a new color here. So tomorrow, let me check the weather real quick. Let's see, what are they saying for tomorrow? Okay, well, they took most of the rain for tomorrow away. They actually took the... No. Okay, so their weekend forecast still says thunderstorms likely for Friday night, but on their extended forecast, it's like chance of rain 21%. So, what? I don't know, man. It looks like we're good for tomorrow, though. So we will be back with Planet Zoo tomorrow. And, trying to, I don't want to decorate the station yet. We just got the, habitats sort of sorted for the interior of our little island thing. So we might work on getting the animals into those tomorrow and start to figure out all of that and getting glass or mesh in place. And I have to remember who I was gonna put where. I know it was cranes and deer that were going in on the island. We got the walkways sorted. Like, we've got a lot of work to do in that area to make it a lot less ugly than it is currently. So, we'll work on that tomorrow, or at least try to start working on that tomorrow. So I hope everybody has a good rest of their day. Oh my goodness, excuse me. And thank you for popping in and checking this out today. Don't forget to follow socially links down below. Those will take you to the Ko-fi, the Blue Sky, and the YouTube channels. And don't forget, we archive most of the live streams over there, so if you only caught part of a project and want to see it from the beginning, you should be able to find it over there. We've got painting playlists, needle felting playlists. I've started a embroidery playlist. We've got different games on different playlists. So don't forget to check that out. And if you could do a girl a solid and subscribe over there, it's free to do so. That would really help out the channel on YouTube. And with that, I will see everybody tomorrow for Planet Zoo. So until next time, everybody, have a good one.